हरे कृष्ण। संसारधावा नललीढलोका त्राणाय कारुण्यगणगणात्वम् प्राप्तस्य कल्याण गुणर्नवस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् महाप्रभु कीर्तन नित्य गीता वादित्र्यमाद्यान् मनसुरसेना वादित्र्यमाद्यान् मनसुरसेना रोमञ्चकम्पा श्रुतरङ्गबाजो वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् श्रीविग्रहाराधननित्यनानां शृङ्गारतन्मन्दिरमार्जनादो दिरमार्जनादो युक्तस्य भक्तां तनियुञ्जतोऽपि वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् युक्तस्य भक्तां च नियुञ्जतोऽपि वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दं चतुर्विधा श्री भगवत्प्रसादो स्वादन्न तृप्तान् हरिभक्तसङ्गन् चतुर्विधा श्री कृत्वैव तृप्तिं भजत सदैव वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् श्रीराधिका माधवयोरपारा माधुर्यलीला गुणरूपनाम्नाम् माधवयोरपारा माधुर्यलीला गुणरूपनाम्नां प्रतीक्षणा स्वादनलोलुपस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् निकुञ्जयूनो रतिकेलिसीद्यै यायालिभिर्युक्तिरपेक्षणीया निकुञ्जयूनो रतिकेलिसीद्यै यायालिभिर्युक्तिरपेक्षणीया तत्रादिदाक्षात् अतिवल्लभस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् साक्षाद्धरित्वेन समस्तशास्त्रैर्युक्तस्तथा भाव्यत एव सद्भिः किन्तु प्रभोर्या प्रिय एव तस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् यस्य प्रसादात् भगवत्प्रसादो यस्य प्रसादात् न गति कुतोऽपि ध्यायं स्तुवन्तस्य यशस्त्रिसन्ध्यान् वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्देशतारिणे नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसदि गौर भक्तवृंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Hare Hare.
Namamishwaram Sachit Anandarupam Lasarkundalam Gokule Brajamanam.
Namamishwaram Sachidanandarupam
यशोदाभियोलुकालादवमानम् परामृष्टामात्यन्ततो धृत्यगोप्याम् कृदन्तमुहुर्नेत्रयुग्ममृजन्तम् कराम्बोजयुगमेन शातङ्कनेत्रम् मुहुश्वास्वकम्पातिरेकाङ्ककन्ता सीताग्रे वदामोदरं भक्तिपदम् इति दिक्स्वलीलाभिरानन्दकुण्डे स्वघोषं निमाजन्तं माख्यापयन्तम् तदीशितागेषु भक्तिर्जिता त्वं पुनः प्रेमतः संसतावृत्ति वन्दे परं देवमोक्षं न मोक्षावधिं वा न चान्यं प्रणेहं वरेषदपीह इदं ते वपुर्नाथा गोपालबालम् सदा मे मनसा विरासं किमन्ये इदं ते मुकाम्बोजं हत्यन्तनीलैर्वृतं कुन्तलैः स्निग्धरक्तैश्च गोप्या मुहुश्चुम्बितं बिम्बरक्तधरं मे मनसा विरासं मालं लक्षलाभै नमो देवदामोदरानन्त विष्णो प्रसीद प्रभो दुःखजलब्धिमग्नम् कृपादृष्टिविषयाति दिनं बतानु गृहाणे क्षमामह्यं मे दक्षिदृश्याय कुबेरात्मजो बद्धमूर्तैवया त्वया मोचितौ भक्तिभाजकृतौ च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकामे प्रयच्छ न मोक्षीग्रहो मे सीतामोदरेऽहम् नमस्तेऽस्तु दाम्ने स्फुरदीप्तिदाम्ने त्वदीयोतराय विश्वस्य दाम्ने
नमस्ते सुदाम्ने स्फुरतीतिधाम्ने त्वदीयोदराय विश्वस्य दाम्ने
नमो राधिकायै त्वदीया प्रियायै नमो अनन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम्
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 हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna. One more time, slow. One more time. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare.
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Next very soon. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare.
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Once more. Beat it. Beat. Don't miss the beat.
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Third variation. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare.
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Jai Radha.
जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर श्री राधे Madhav Shri Radhe. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Shri Shri Radha Damodar ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhav ki jai.
Jai Om Shnu Pada Pramhamsa Prachaka Acharya Stota Shata Shishmadis Divine Grace Abharachana Rinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON BBT Bhaktivedanta Institute Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Shnu Pada Pramhamsa Prachaka Acharya Stota Shata Shishmadis Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavana ki jai. Nama Acharya Srila Haridasa ki jai. Premise Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Dadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Shri Vardhabhumi Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Shri Navadvipa Maya Pradam ki jai. Purushottama Chaita Jagnapuri Dham ki jai. Shri Ayodhya Dham ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Yamuna Mai ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Tulsi Devi ki jai. Samavrita Bhaktavinda ki jai. Shri Virabhadra Appearance Day ki jai. Shri Gaura Bhaktavinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Nilamadava ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Damodara ki jai. Shri Yashoda Damodara ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahlada Lada Dayine. Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha. Shilatankana Kalaye. Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha. Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha. Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsimha. Bahir Narsimha Hridaye Narsimha. Narasimha Madin Sharanam Prapate. Tava Kara Kamala Varena Kham Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringa Keshavadhrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Kara Kamala Varena Kham Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringa Keshavadhrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jaya Narasingha Dev Jaya Narasingha Dev Jaya Narasingha Dev Jaya Narasingha Dev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev भक्त विघ्न विनाशक नरसिंह देव भगवान की जय। भक्त शिरोमणि प्रहलाद महाराज की श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
Let's read the translation together. To the Supreme Lord, whose form embodies eternity, knowledge, and bliss, whose earrings swing to and fro, who shines beautifully in Gokula, who quickly ran from divine mother in fair mother Yashoda, and who was caught from behind by her, who ran faster than he. To thy Supreme Lord, Sri Damodara, our
कृष्णा प्रेयसी नमो नमः। राधा कृष्णा सेवा पावो ये अभिलाषी। मोरा ये अभिलाष विलास, ये अभिलाष विलास कुंज दियो वास। नायने हेरिबो सदा जुगल रूप राशि। हेरिबो सदा जुगल रूप राशि। एई निवेदन धरो साखीरानुगाता करो। निवेदन धरो साखीरानुगाता करो। सेवा अधिकार दिए करो निज दासी। दीना कृष्ण दास कोय ये न मोरा होय। श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदा ये न भासी। नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्णा प्रेयसी नमो नमः। यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणपादे पदे। यानि कानि चापापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणपादे पदे ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणपादे पदे यानि कानि चापापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणपादे पदे चापापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणपादे पदे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे 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 राम जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी जय तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी नित्य गौर हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल वृंदा देवी की तुलसी महारानी की जय वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवश्च च विष्णु भक्ति प्रतिदेवे सत्यवताय नमो नमः तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवश्च च विष्णु भक्ति प्रतिदेवे सत्यवताय नमो नमः वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवश्च च विष्णु भक्ति प्रतिदेवे सत्यवताय नमो नमः वृंदा देवी की जय तुलसी महारानी की जय
always behold the beautiful paths of Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me follow a Karo Danso's virgin. Please give me the privileged devotional service and make me own maidservant. This very fallen lowly servant of Krishna prays. May I always swim in the love Shri Shri Radha and Govinda. Srimati Tulasi Maharani ki jai. There are 10 fences in the matter chanting holy name should be avoided, and they are as follows. 1. To blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. 2. To consider the name of the demigods or Lord Shiva or Brahma to be equal to independent name Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the order of the spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature pursuant to Vedic version. 5. To consider the glory of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. 6. To give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities and strength of chanting the holy name. 8. To consider chanting Hare Krishna one of special ritualist activities, offering the Vedas fruity activities, karma, kanda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about the glory of the holy name. 10. To not complete faith in the chanting holy names, and to maintain material attachments in understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to Vaishnava must carefully guard against these 10 offenses in order to quickly achieve desired success. Krishna Prema. Now let us offer most humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just as thy trees who can fulfill to everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Jeto Darpana Marjanam Pavamahadavagni Nirvapanam Shriya Kairava Chantrika Vitaranam Vidyavatu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purunarmita Swadanam Sarvatamasnapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatra Pita Niyamita Smaranena Kalaha Eta Deshi Tavakripa Bhagavam Mamapi Durudevami Disham Yahajanina Nurakaha Trinatapi Sunichena Tarorapi Saishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sada Harihi Na Thanam Na Janam Na Sundarim Kavitam Jagadisha Kamaye Mama Jammani Jammanishvare Bhavata Bhaktir Haituki Tavai Ayinanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Puto Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Sthita Turi Satesham Vichintaya Nayanam Karata Shurutadaya Vadanam Katkata Rudaya Kira Pulaka Nichitam Vapurukada Tava Nama Krahane Pavishati Yuga itam nimishena chakshusha pravisha itam shunya itam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me ashrishava padaratam pinnashtumam adarshana marmhatam karotuva yatha tatha va vidadhatu lampato madprananatastu sa eva na paraha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Glory to Shri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all the desecrated for years and extinguishes fire of conditional life for repeated birth and death. This Sankirtana movement is prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays and benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enable us to fully taste nectar for which always anxious. O my Lord, your holy name alone grant all benediction of human beings. Thus you have hundreds of millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names you have vested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out kindness enables us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I'm so unfortunate I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in humble state of mind, thinking oneself Lord and then strolling the street. One should be more taller than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor to desire beautiful women, nor to want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Sangha Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I'm your eternal servitor, yet somehow I fall into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me at one of the items at lotus feet. Oh my Lord, won't my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constant when I chant your holy name? Won't my voice choke up or harass my body stand end or recitation of your name? Oh Govinda, feeling of separation, I'm constant moment to be like a great millennium. Tears are flowing from eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything, everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Shri Chaitanya Shastakam ki jai. Shri Mangala Charanam prayers ki jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Om Litam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadhuitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pachatadesha Tarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaya Kripaptaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryojala Premadya Shri Rupa Nuga Bhaktita Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Mutaye Dina Darine Rupanuga Virudapa Siddhanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Mutaye Vipralamba Rasambodhe Padam Pujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gauravir Bhava Bhumiston Nirtishtasya Jana Priyaha Vaishnava Sava Palmashi Jaganathaya Te Namaha Vancha Kalpa Tarupishcha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavni Pyo Vaishnavi Pyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakham Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Hey Krishna Karna Sindho Dinabandho Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Surato Pangor Mamamanda Matergati Masarva Swapadam Bojo Radha Madana Mohano Divya Vindadana Kalpadumadaha Shimadra Nagara Singhasana Stho Shrimad Radha Shila Govinda Devo Prishtari Bi Sevyamano Smarami Shriman Rasa Rasarambi Vamsi Vata Tatastitaha Karsham Venu Soner Gopir Gopinatha Shri Yestunaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Panamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Dadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Shri Mangala Charana prayers ki jai. Shri Parama Samhita ki jai. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadya Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam Chintamani Parakara Satmasu Kalpaviksha Raksha Veteshu Surabi Rabi Parayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shatasam Brahmasevyamanam Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Venum Kavanantam Aravinda Dalaya Daksham Parharvatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kantarpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shopam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Alola Chantakaraka Ladamare Vamshi Ranangadam Panayakiri Kalavilasam Shamam Tipanka Laditam Yataprakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pachami Angani Yasya Sakalenti Avrittimanti Pashanti Panti Kalayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chimma Satuchula Vigrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pachami Advaitam Achotam Anadi Mananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durabam Adurabam Atma Bhakta Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Pantastu Koti Shatavassara Sampragamyo Vayurathapi Manaso Muni Pangavanam Sopiasti Yappapada Simya Vichinta Tatve Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ekopya Sarachayitum Jagadanta Kotim Ya Chakti Rasti Jagadanta Chayaya Dantaha Antantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastham Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yad Bhava Bhavitadiyo Manujasta Teva Samprapya Rupa Mahimasanayana Pushaha Suktaryam Eva Nigama Patitaistu Vanti Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chimma Rasa Patibhavitapi Stapi Evan Jarupataya Kalapi Goloka Eva Nivasati Kilatma Bhutto Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Premanjana Churutha Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadeva Hidayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundam Achintya Guna Swarupam Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ramadi Murtishu Kalaniyamena Tishtan Nanavataram Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhava Paramapumamyo Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. He has an eternal blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor who is tending the cows, yielding all desire, and in abode built with the spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purpose trees, always served with a great reverence and affection by the hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept in playing on his flute with blooming eyes with lotus petals, with head decked with peacock's feather, with the figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, round whose neck is swinging a garland of flowers, beautified with the moon locket, whose two hands are adorned with the flute and jeweled ornaments, who always revels in pastimes of love, whose graceful threefold bending form of Shyamsundar is eternally manifest.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendental form is full of bliss, truth, substantiality, and is thus full of the most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of the transcendental figure possesses in himself the full-fledged functions of all the organs, and eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas, but obtainable by pure unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second and who is not subject to decay. He is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning and the eternal pursuit. Eternal Purusha. Yet he is a person possessing the beauty of blooming youth.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, only the tip of the toe whose lotus feet is approached by the yogis, who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayama, by drilling the respiration, or by the jnanis who try to find out the non-differentiated Brahman by the process of elimination of the mundane, extending over thousands of.
He is an undifferentiated entity, as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor thereof. In his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. All the universes exist in him, and he is present in his fullness, in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe at one and the same time. Such is the primeval Lord whom I adore.
I adore the same Govinda, the primeval Lord, in whose praise men who are imbued with devotion sing the mantra suktas told by the Vedas by gaining their appro- by gaining their appropriate beauty, greatness, thrones, conveyances, and ornaments.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, residing in his own realm, Goloka with Radha, and resembling his own spiritual figure. The embodiment of the ecstatic potency possessed of the 64 artist, artistic activities in the company of her confidences, Sakis, embodiments of the extensions of her bodily form, permeated and vitalized by his ever blissful spiritual rasa.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is Shyama Sundara Krishna himself, with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their heart of hearts, with the eye of devotion tinged with the salve of love.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who manifested himself personally as Krishna in the different avatars in the world, in the forms of Rama, Narasimha, Vamana, etc., as a subjective portion.
Sri Brahma Samhita ki jai. Bhagavad Gita 7.1 purport. Srunvatam swakata Krishna punya sravana kirtanaha hridayanta histo hi abhadrani vidunoti suhrit satam nasta prayesva abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki tada raja stamo bhava kama lobha dayaschaye चेत एतेर अनाविदम स्थितम सत्वे प्रसीदति एवं प्रसन्न मनसो भगवत भक्ति योगतः भगवत तत्व विज्ञानम मुक्त संगस्य जायते विद्यते हृदय ग्रंथेश्चिद्यन्ते सर्व समस्यः क्षीयन्ते च कर्माणि दृष्टा एव आत्मनीश्वरे. To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita is itself righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a best wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him.
In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. By development of the devotional service, one becomes free from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lust and avers are dismissed. When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his passion of pure goodness, becomes enlivened by a devotional service, and understands the science of God perfectly. Thus, Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come at once to the stage of asamsayam samagram, understanding the supreme absolute truth personality of Godhead. Bhagavatam 1.2.17 to 21. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotees in a Krishna conscious can one understand the science of Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, we'll continue reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, text 28-29. Vasudeva param veda, Vasudeva paramakaha, Vasudeva parayoga, Vasudeva parakriya, Vasudeva param jnanam, Vasudeva param tapaha, Vasudeva paro dharmaha, Vasudeva paragatihi. Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead. Paraha, the ultimate goal. Vedas, revealed scriptures. Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead. Paraha, for worshipping. Makaha, sacrifices. Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead. Paraha, the means of attaining. Yogas, mystic paraphernalia. Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead. Paraha, under his control. Kriya, fruitive activities. Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead. Param, the supreme. Jnanam, knowledge. Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead. Param, best. Tapaha, austerity. Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead. Paraha, superior quality. Dharmaha, religion. Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead. Paraha, ultimate. Gatihi, goal of life. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In the revealed scriptures, the ultimate object of knowledge is Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. The purpose of performing sacrifice is to please Him. Yoga is for realizing Him. All fruitive activities are ultimately rewarded by Him only. He is supreme knowledge, and all severe austerities are performed to know Him. Religion, dharma, is rendering loving service unto Him. He is the supreme goal of life. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. That Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, is the only object of worship is confirmed in these two slokas. In the Vedic literature, there is the same objective, establishing one's relationship and ultimately reviving our lost loving service unto Him. That is the sum and substance of the Vedas. In the Bhagavad Gita, the same theory is confirmed with the Lord in His own words. The ultimate purpose of the Vedas is to know Him only. All the revealed scriptures are prepared by the Lord through His incarnation in the body of Srila Vyasadeva, just to remind the fallen souls, conditioned by material nature, of Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. No demigod can award freedom from material bondage. That is the verdict of all the Vedic literatures. Impersonalists who have no information of the personality of Godhead minimize the omnipotency of the Supreme Lord and put Him on equal footing with all other living beings. And for this act, such impersonalists get freedom from material bondage only with great difficulty. They can surrender unto Him only after many, many births in the culture of transcendental knowledge. One may argue that the Vedic activities are based on sacrificial ceremonies. That is true. But all such sacrifices are also meant for realizing the truth about Vasudeva. Another name of Vasudeva is Yajna, sacrifice. And in the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that all sacrifices and all activities are to be conducted for the satisfaction of Yajna, or Vishnu, the personality of Godhead. This is the case also with the yoga systems. Yoga means to get into touch with the Supreme Lord. The process, however, includes several bodily features such as asana, dhyana, pranayama, and meditation, and all of them are meant for concentrating upon the localized aspect of Vasudeva, represented as Paramatma. Paramatma realization is but partial realization of Vasudeva, and if one is successful in that attempt, one realizes Vasudeva in full. But by ill luck, most yogis are stranded by the powers of mysticism achieved through the bodily process. Ill fated yogis are given a chance in the next birth by being placed in the families of good limbed brahmanas or in the families of rich merchants in order to execute the unfinished task of Vasudeva realization. If such fortunate brahmanas and sons of rich men properly utilize the chance, they can easily realize Vasudeva by good association with saintly persons. Unfortunately, such preferred persons are captivated again by material wealth and honor, and thus by practically forget the aim of life. This is also for the culture of knowledge. According to Bhagavad Gita, there are 18 items in culturing knowledge. By such culture of knowledge, one becomes gradually prideless, devoid of vanity, non-violent, forbearing, simple, devoted to the great spiritual master, and self-controlled. By culture of knowledge, one becomes unattached to earth and home and becomes conscious of the miseries due to death, birth, old age, and disease. And all culture of knowledge culminates in devotional service to the personality of Godhead Vasudeva. Therefore, Vasudeva is the ultimate aim in culturing all different branches of knowledge. Culture of knowledge leading one to the transcendental plane of meeting Vasudeva is real knowledge. Physical knowledge is in its various branches is condemned in the Bhagavad Gita as ajnana, or the opposite of real knowledge. The ultimate aim of physical knowledge is to satisfy the senses, which means prolongation of the term of material existence and thereby continuance of the threefold miseries. So, prolonging the miserable life of material existence is in a science. But the same physical knowledge leading to the way of spiritual understanding helps one to end the miserable life of physical existence and to begin the life of spiritual existence in the plane of Vasudeva. The same applies to all kinds of austerities. Tapasya means voluntary acceptance of bodily pains to achieve some higher end of life. Ravana and Hiranyakasipu underwent a severe type of bodily torture to achieve the end of sense gratification. Sometimes modern politicians also undergo severe types of austerities to achieve some political end. This is not actually tapasya. One should accept voluntary bodily inconvenience for the sake of knowing Vasudeva, because that is the way of real austerities. Otherwise, all forms of austerities are classified as modes of passion and ignorance. Passion and ignorance cannot end the miseries of life. Only the mode of goodness can mitigate the threefold miseries of life. Vasudeva and Devaki, the so-called father and mother of Lord Krishna, underwent penances to get Vasudeva as their son. Lord Sri Krishna is the father of all living beings. Bhagavad Gita 14.4. Therefore, he is the original living being of all other living beings. He is the original eternal enjoyer amongst all other enjoyers. Therefore, no one can be his begetting father, as the ignorant may think. Lord Sri Krishna agreed to become the son of Vasudeva and Devaki upon being pleased with their severe austerities. Therefore, if any austerities have to be done, they must be done to achieve the end of knowledge Vasudeva.
Vasudeva, Vasudeva is the original personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. As explained before, the original personality of Godhead expands himself by innumerable forms. Such expansions of forms is made possible by his various energies. His energies are also multifarious, and his internal energies are superior and external energies inferior in quality. They are explained in the Bhagavad Gita 7.4 to 6 as the para and apara prakritis. So his expansions of various forms which take place via internal energies are superior forms, whereas expansions which take place via external energies are inferior forms. The living entities are also his expansions. The living entities who are expanded by his eternal potency are eternally liberated persons, whereas those who are expanded in terms of the material energies are eternally conditioned souls. Therefore, all culture of knowledge, austerity, sacrifice, and activity should be aimed at changing the quality of the influence that is acting upon us. For the present, we are all being controlled by the external energy of the Lord, and just to change the quality of the influence, we must endeavor to cultivate spiritual energy. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that those who are Mahatmas are those whose minds have been so broadened as to be engaged in the service of the Lord Krishna, or under the influence of the eternal potency. And the effect of the is that such a broad-minded living beings are constantly engaged in the service of the Lord without deviation. That should be the aim of the life, and that is the verdict of all Vedic literatures. No one should bother himself with the fruitive activities or dry speculations about transcendental knowledge. Everyone should at once engage himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Nor should one worship different demigods who work as different hands of the Lord for creation, maintenance, and destruction of the material world. There are innumerable powerful demigods who too look over the external management of the material world. They are all different assisting hands of the Lord Vasudeva. Even Lord Shiva and the Lord Brahma are included in the list of demigods. But Lord Vishnu or Vasudeva is always transcendentally situated. Even though he accepts the quality of goodness of the material world, he is still transcendental to all material modes. The following example will clear that matter more explicitly. In the prison house, there are prisoners and the managers of the prison house. Both managers and the prisoners are bound by the laws of the king. But even though the king sometimes comes in the prison, he is not bound by the laws of this prison house. The king is therefore always transcendental to the laws of the prison house, as the Lord is always transcendental to the laws of material world.
Text 1.2.30. Sa evedam sasarjagre bhagavan atma mayaya sad asad rupaya cha sau guna maya guno vibhu. Sa, that, eva, certainly, idam, this, sasarja, created, agre, before, bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, atma mayaya, by his personal potency, sat, the cause, asat, the effect, rupaya, by forms, cha, and asau, the same Lord, gunamaya, in the modes of material nature, agunaha, transcendental, vibhuhu, the absolute. Translation: in the beginning of the material creation, that absolute personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, in his transcendental position, created the energies of cause and effect by his own internal energy. Purport: the position of the Lord is always transcendental because The casual and effectual energies required for the creation of the material world were also created by him. He is unaffected, therefore, by the qualities of the material modes. His existence, form, activities, and paraphernalia all existed before the material creation. He is all spiritual and has nothing to do with the qualities of the material world, which are qualitatively distinct from the spiritual qualities of the Lord.
तया विलासितेष्वेषु गुणेषु गुणवानिव अन्ता प्रविष्ट आभाति विज्ञानेव विजृम्भिता तया तया by them vilasiteshu although in the function eshu these guneshu the modes of material nature gunavan affected by the modes iva as if anta within pravishta entered into abhita appears to be vignanena by transcendental consciousness vijrambita fully enlightened. Translation. After creating the material substance, the Lord Vasudeva expands himself and enters into it. And although he is within the material modes of nature and appears to be one of the created beings, he is always fully enlightened in his transcendental position. By Srila Prabhupada. The living entities are separated parts and parcels of the Lord, and the conditioned living entities who are unfit for the spiritual kingdom are strewn within the material world to enjoy matter to the fullest extent. As Paramatma, an eternal friend of the living entities, the Lord, by one of his plenary portions, accompanies the living entities to guide them in their material enjoyment and to become witnesses to all activities. While the living entities enjoy the material conditions, the Lord maintains his transcendental position without being affected by the material atmosphere. In the Vedic literatures, Shruti, it is said that there are two birds in one tree. One of them is eating the fruit of the tree, while the other is witnessing the actions. The witness is the Lord, and the fruit eater is the living entity. The fruit eater, living entity, has forgotten his real identity and is overwhelmed in the fruitive activities of the material conditions. But the Lord, Paramatma, is always full in transcendental knowledge. That is the difference between the super soul and the conditioned soul. The conditioned soul, the living entity, is controlled by the laws of nature, while the Paramatma or the super soul is the controller of the material nature.
Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 32. यदा हि अवहितो वह्निर्दारुष्वेकस्वयोनिषु नानीव भाति विश्वात्मा भूतेषु च तदा पुमान् yata as much as he, exactly like avahita, surcharged with vahni, fire, darushu, inward, eka, one, swayonishu, the source of manifestation, nana iva, like different entities, bhati, illuminates, vishwatma, the Lord as Paramatma, bhuteshu, in the living entities, cha, and tada, in the same way, Puman, the absolute person. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Lord, as Super Soul, pervades all things, just as fire permeates wood. So He appears to be of many varieties, though He is the Absolute One without a second. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Lord Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by one of His plenary parts expands Himself all over the material world, and His existence can be perceived even within the atomic energy. Matter, antimatter, proton, neutron, etc. are all different effects of the Paramatma feature of the Lord. As from wood, fire can be manifested, or as butter can be churned out of milk, so also the presence of the Lord as Paramatma can be felt by the process of legitimate hearing and chanting of the transcendental subjects, which are especially treated in the Vedic literatures like the Upanishads and Vedanta. Srimad Bhagavatam is a bona fide explanation of these Vedic literatures. The Lord can be realized through the oral reception of the transcendental message, and that is the only way to experience the transcendental subject. As fire is kindled from wood by another fire, the divine consciousness of man can similarly be kindled by another divine grace. His divine grace, the spiritual master, can kindle the spiritual fire from the wood like living entity by imparting proper spiritual messages injected through the receptive ear. Therefore, one is required to approach the proper spiritual master with receptive ears only, and thus divine existence is gradually realized. The difference between animality and humanity lies in the process only. In this process only, a human being can hear properly, whereas an animal cannot.
असौगुणमय्यार भावैर्भूत असौगुणमयैर्भावैर्भूत भूतसूक्ष्मेन्द्रियात्मा स्वानिर्मयतेषु निर्विष्टो भुङ्क्ते भूतेषु तद्गुणान्.
As so that Paramatma, Gunamayai, influenced by the modes of nature, Bhavai, naturally, Bhuta, created, Sukshma, subtle, Indriya, senses, Atma, by the living beings, Swa Nirmiteshu, in his own creation, Nirvishta, entering, Bhunkte, causes to enjoy, Bhuteshu, in the living entities, Tat Gunan, those modes of nature.
The super soul enters into the bodies of the created beings who are influenced by the modes of material nature and causes them to enjoy the effects of these modes by the settle mind. It doesn't matter. There are 8,400,000 species of living beings, beginning from the highest and intellectual being Brahma, down to the insignificant ant, and all of them are enjoying the material worlds, the subtle mind and gross material body. The gross material body is based on the conditions of the subtle mind, and the senses are created according to the desire of the living being. The Lord, as Paramatma, helps the living being to get material happiness because the living being is helpless in all respects in obtaining what he desires. He proposes and the Lord disposes. In other sense, the living being are parts and parcels of the Lord. They are therefore one with the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita. With the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, the living beings in all varieties of bodies have been claimed by the Lord as his sons. The suffering and enjoyments of the sons are indirectly the sufferings and enjoyments of the father. Still, the father is not in any way affected directly by the suffering and enjoyment of the sons. He is so kind that he constantly remains with the living being as Paramatma and always tries to convert the living being towards the real happiness. Can I read the translation this time?
Not it, not it. Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 34. भावयति एष सत्त्वेन लोकान् वै लोका भावनाः लीलावतारुणरतो देवतिर्यान् नरादिषु bhavayati maintains esha all these sattvena in the mode of goodness lokan all over the universe why generally lokabhavanaha the master of the all universes Leela pastimes avatara incarnation anurataha assuming the role deva the demigods Tiryak lower animals naradishu in the midst of human beings. Translation.
Thus the Lord of the universes maintains all planets inhabited by demigods, men and lower animals, assuming the roles of incarnations. He performs pastimes to reclaim those in the mode of pure goodness.
Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. There are innumerable material universes, and in each and every universe there are innumerable planets inhabited by different grades of living entities in different modes of nature. The Lord Vishnu incarnates himself in each and every one of them and in each and every type of living society. He manifests his transcendental pastimes amongst them just to create the desire to go back to Godhead. The Lord does not change his original transcendental position, but he appears to be differently manifested according to the particular time, circumstances, and society. Sometimes he incarnates himself or empowers a suitable living being to act for him, but in either case, the purpose is the same. The Lord wants a suffering living being to go back home, back to Godhead. The happiness which the living beings are hankering for is not to be found within any corner of the innumerable universes and material planets. The eternal happiness which the living being wants is obtainable in the kingdom of God, but the forgetful living beings under the influence of the material modes have no information of the kingdom of God. The Lord therefore comes to propagate the message of the kingdom of God, either personally as an incarnation or through his bona fide representative as a good son of God. Such incarnations or sons of God are not making propaganda for going back to Godhead only within the human society. Their work is also going on in all types of societies amongst demigods and those other than human beings. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purports of the first canto, second chapter, the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Divinity and Divine Service.
Sutta uvacha jagre purusham paurasham rupam bhagavan mahadadibam adibi sambhutam sodashakalam adau lokashri shikshaya.
Suta Uvacha, Suta said, Jagre accepted. Paurisham, plenary portion as the Purusha incarnation. Rupam, form, Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Mahat Adibi, with the ingredients of the material world. Sambhutam, thus there was the creation of Sodasha Kalam, 16 primary principles. Adav, in the beginning. Loka, the universes. Shishrikshaya, on the intention of creating. Translation.
Sutta said in the beginning of the creation, the Lord first expanded himself in the universal form of the Purusha, material incarnation, and manifested all the ingredients for the material creation. And thus, at first, where there was the creation of the 16 principles of material action. This was for the purpose of creating the material universe. Bhagavad Gita states that the personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, maintains these material universes by extending his planetary expansions. So this Purusha form is the confirmation of the same principle. The form is confirmation of the same principle. The original personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, or Lord Krishna, or who is famous as the son of King Vasudeva or King Nanda, is full of with all opulences, all potencies, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation. A part of his opulence is manifested as impersonal Brahman, and a part of his opulence is manifested as Paramatma. This Purusha feature of the same personality of God as Sri Krishna is the original Paramatma manifestation of the Lord. There are three Purusha features in the material creation. In this form, who is known as the Karanado Kashayi Karana Dakashayi Vishnu is the first of the three. The others are known as the Bodhakashayi Vishnu and the Shirodakashayi Vishnu, which we shall know one after another. The innumerable universes are generated from the skin holes of the Karanadokashayi Vishnu. And in each of the universes, the Lord enters as Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also mentioned that the material world is created at certain intervals and then again destroyed. This creation and destruction is done by the supreme will because of the conditioned souls, or the Nitya Badas, living beings. Nitya Bada, living beings. The Nitya Bada, or the eternally conditioned souls, have the sense of the individuality of ahankara, which dictates to them sense enjoyment, which they are unable to have constitutionally. The Lord is the only enjoyer, and all others are enjoyed. The living beings are predominated enjoyers, but the internally conditioned souls, forgetful of this constitutional position, have strong aspirations to enjoy. The chance to enjoy matter is given to the conditioned souls in the material world. And side by side, they are given the chance to understand their real constitutional position. Those fortunate living entities who catch the truth and surrender unto the lotus feet of Vasudeva, after many, many births in the material world, join the eternally liberated souls and thus are allowed to enter into the kingdom of Godhead. After this, such fortunate living entities need not to come again within the occasional material creation. But those who cannot catch the constitutional truth are again merged into the Mahatattva at the time of the annihilation of the material creation. When the creation is again set up, this Mahatattva is again let loose. This Mahatattva contains all the ingredients of the material manifestations, including the conditioned souls. Primarily, this Mahatattva is divided into 16 parts, namely the 5 gross elements and the 11 working instruments or senses. It is like the cloud in the clear sky. In the spiritual sky, the effulgence of Brahman is spread all around, and the whole system is dazzling in spiritual light. The Mahatattva is assembled in some corner of the vast, unlimited spiritual sky, and the part which is thus covered by the Mahatattva is called the material sky. This part of the spiritual sky called the Mahatattva is only an insignificant portion of the whole spiritual sky, and within this Mahatattva there are innumerable universes. All these universes are collectively produced by the Karanodakshai Vishnu, called also the Mahavishnu, who simply throws his glance to impregnate the material sky.
Text 2, Canto 1, Chapter 3. Yashyambasi sayanasya yoganidram vitanvata nabhi hridam bujadasid brahma vishwa srujampati. Yashya, whose ambasi, in the water, shayanasya, lying down, yoganidram, sleeping in meditation, vitanvataha, ministering, nabi, navel, hrida, out of the lake, ambujat, from the lotus, asit, was manifested, Brahma, the grandfather of the living beings, Vishwa, the universe, Srujam, the engineers, Pati, master. Translation.
A part of the Purusha lies down within the water of the universe form of from the navel lake of his body sprouts a lotus stem, and from the lotus flower atop this stem, Brahma, the master of all engineers in the universe becomes manifested.
Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The first Purusha is the Karanodakasai Vishnu. From his skin holes, innumerable universes have sprung up. In each and every universe, the Purusha enters as the Garbhodakasai Vishnu. He is lying within the half of the universe which is full with the water of his body. And from the navel of Garbhodakasai Vishnu has sprung the stem of the lotus flower, the birthplace of Brahma, who is the father of all living beings and the master of all the demigod engineers engaged in the perfect design and working of the universal order. Within the stem of the lotus, there are 14 divisions of planetary systems, and the earthly planets are situated in the middle. Upwards, there are other better planetary systems, and the topmost system is called Brahmaloka or Satyaloka. Downwards from the earthly planetary system, there are 7 lower planetary systems inhabited by the Asuras and similar other materialistic living beings. From Garbhodakasai Vishnu, there is expansion of the Kshirodakasai Vishnu, who is the collective Paramatma of all living beings. He is called Hari, and from him all incarnations within the universe are expanded. Therefore, the conclusion is that the Purusha Avatara is manifested in 3 features. First, the Karanodakasai Vishnu, Karanodakasai, who creates aggregate material ingredients in the Mahatattva. Second, the Garbhodakasai, who enters in each and every universe. And third, the Kshirodakasai Vishnu, who is the Paramatma of every material object, organic or inorganic. One who knows these plenary features of the personality of Godhead knows Godhead properly, and thus the knower becomes freed from the material conditions of birth, death, old age, and disease, as it is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. In this sloka, the subject matter of Mahavishnu is summarized. The Mahavishnu lies down in some part of the spiritual sky by his own free will. Thus, he lies on the ocean of Karana, from where he glances over his material nature. The Mahatattva is at once created. Thus, electrified by the power of the Lord, the material nature at once creates innumerable universes, just as in due course a tree decorates itself with innumerable grown fruits. The seed of the tree is sown by the cultivator, and the tree or creeper in due course becomes manifested with so many fruits. Nothing can take place without a cause. The Karana ocean is therefore called the causal ocean. Karana means causal. We should not foolishly accept the atheistic theory of creation. The description of atheist is given in the Bhagavad Gita. The atheist does not believe in the Creator, but he cannot give a good theory to explain the creation. Material nature has no power to create without the power of the Purusha, just as a Prakriti or woman cannot produce a child without the connection of a Purusha or man. The Purusha impregnates and the Prakriti delivers. We should not expect milk from the fleshy bags on the neck of a goat, although they look like breastly nipples. Similarly, we should not expect any creative power from the material ingredients. We must believe in the power of Purusha, who impregnates Prakriti or nature. Because the Lord wished to lie down in meditation, the material energy created innumerable universes at once, and in each of them the Lord lay down, and thus all the planets and the different paraphernalia were created at once by the will of the Lord. The Lord has unlimited potencies, and thus he can act as he likes by perfect planning, although personally he has nothing to do. No one is greater than or equal to him. That is the verdict of the Vedas.
Yashvavayava Yashyavayava Samastanai Kalpito Lokavistara Tadvai Bhagavato Rupam Vishudam Sattvam Urjitam Yash
Yashya, whose avayava, bodily expansion, samsthani, situated in, kalpita is imagined, loka, planets of inhabitants, vistaraha, various, tatvai, but that is, bhagavata, the personality of Godhead, rupam, form, vishuddham, purely, sattvam, existence, urjitam, excellence.
It is believed that all the universal planetary systems are situated on the extensive body of the Purusha, but he has nothing to do with the created material ingredients. His body is eternal in spiritual existence par excellence. The conception of the Virat Rupa or Vishva Rupa of the Absolute Truth is especially meant for the neophyte who can hardly think of the form of the personality of Godhead. To him, a form means something of the material world, and therefore an opposite conception of the Absolute is necessary in the beginning to concentrate the mind on the power extension of the Lord. As stated above, the Lord extends his potency in the in the form of the Mahatattva, which includes all material ingredients. The extension of power by the Lord and the Lord himself personally are one in one senses. One in one sense. But at the same time, the Mahatattva is different from the Lord. Therefore, the potency of the Lord and the Lord are simultaneously different and non-different. The conception of the Virat Rupa, especially for the impersonalist, is thus non-different from the eternal form of the Lord. This eternal form of the Lord exists prior to the creation of the Mahatattva, and it is stressed here that the eternal form of the Lord is par excellence spiritual or transcendental to the modes of material nature. The very same transcendental form of the Lord is manifested by his eternal potency in the formation of his multifarious manifestations of incarnations is always of the same transcendental quality without any touch of the Mahatattva. Gantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai.